Okay, you guys, welcome back. I am so excited to be sitting next to this handsome young man. Yes, I said it. I said handsome. You know, I tell the truth. This is going to be a wonderful show. Why? Because it's going to give you an opportunity to step outside of the box and, like I said, to be hypnotized. A lot of us don't understand what hypnosis means, and we don't know how it can happen, and some even have their second doubts. But this is going to be a show that's going to help us get clear through the next, what you call hypnosis?
I call hypnosis a state of relaxation.
Help you get relaxed.
There you go.
Of course, Mr. Jones is here, and he said I could call him Steve. Anyway, Mr. Jones. Okay, Steve. I've already put all your accolades down. I know all about you, but the audience don't know about you. And we first don't understand hypnosis. So I want you to tell them who you are and what you do. And then I really want to get into the serious point about hypnosis.
Okay. Well, I'm Steve G. Jones, and I practice hypnotherapy. I've been doing it since the early 80s. And hypnosis is just a relaxed state of mind, just where you're relaxed and you're at ease. And because of that, for some reason, the subconscious mind just opens up and allows itself to be programmed, sort of like when we were little kids and we just kind of accepted everything that our parents told us as reality. Well, the subconscious mind is kind of like that. It's kind of like a little kid. It's kind of like a computer in the sense that it can be programmed. So in hypnotherapy, we just access that and we help people change.
So it's not really trying to take your mind away, or it's not controlling the mind, because that's the first thing that when you say hypnosis or you want to be hypnotized, first thing someone thinks is that you're trying to control my mind. It's nothing like that?
Nothing like that at all. It's some people have that idea that they'll be like a zombie, or they'll do anything the hypnotherapist says, or that they'll violate their morals, but it's not like that at all. You wouldn't do anything that you wouldn't ordinarily do. And also, hypnotherapists are professionals, so they just want to put positive thoughts in your mind.
Mm-hmm. So how did you actually come about doing this? Because you're a hypnotherapist for a long time. You've wrote so many books. He's an author of so many books, like I said, you guys. But how did you come about saying, okay, well, this is something that's in me that I really love to do, and I'm going to utilize this to help other people?
Great question. It was back in high school, when I was in high school, about 1982, 1983. I graduated in 85 from high school, so about 82, 83. I wasn't really into life much. I wasn't really participating. I wasn't into sports. I played intramural volleyball, which means you just kind of hang out and hit the volleyball around. My grades weren't that good. In fact, that's how I got sent to military school. That's where I was sent, because I almost failed 9th grade. So I wasn't really into anything. But one time in military school, about 10th grade, I got a book on hypnosis. I went to town and got a book on hypnosis. It's called The Complete Guide to Hypnosis by Leslie Leckrone. And I started reading it. It wasn't complete. It was only a 150-page paperback. But it told me about empowering people, how to change them, how to help them. And it wasn't long before the smart kids were coming to me, to my bunk in military school, lying down on my bunk, asking me to make them learn more, retain more when they studied. Mm-hmm. The athletes were coming to me asking me to help them get more exercise out of their day, help them get motivated to exercise, mm-hmm. and to run longer and faster and so forth. All these years later, that was about 1982 or so, all these years later, it's still the same thing, except the athletes are the Dodgers and the smart kids are NASA. But I'm still doing the same thing that I was doing as a kid, just empowering other people.
So you actually found your passion.
I did, and I followed it up with academic study. You know, I got a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Florida, and then a master's degree, specialist degree, then doctorate. And those advanced degrees are in education because now I teach more than actually doing sessions, even though I still do sessions. But yeah, I was lucky. I was one of those people who early on decided this is what I want to do because it changed my life. I was able to come out of my shell. I was able to develop as a person. I was able to achieve my goals, and I wanted other people to have that too.
So you actually just kind of used it on yourself.
Right. Initially I was practicing self-hypnosis. I got the book and I started hypnotizing myself. And I thought, wow, there's really something to this. You know, I'm suddenly interested in school. I don't think I ever would have gotten accepted into the University of Florida if I hadn't made a change at some point in my life, because I wasn't really into school. I was actually rebelling against it. That's how I got sent to military school. So I made a change in my life with hypnosis, and I wanted other people to experience that too.
So that's what I was saying all the time. Anytime you watch the show, you know that I like to tap into people's passions. And when you can find out what your passion is early in life, it's a whole lot easier. Now, who would have thought, really, who would have thought that this 9th grader decided to read a book at military school, after being sent to military school, after actually getting ready to flunk the 9th grade, and now to hypnotize people, to motivate them even mentally? I mean, who would have thought that?
I agree. I mean, I remember walking into 9th grade before I got sent to military school, and I didn't have to take the final exam in algebra. The way you get out of the final exam is you get 2 A's, an A in the first half of the year, an A in the second half of the year. Well, I found an exemption to that. If you get 2 F's, you don't have to take the final exam. So I got out of the final. Little did I know that I would turn that around at a certain point, and hypnosis for me was the key that unlocked the door and changed everything for me.
Wow. You guys don't go away, because we're going to be back with Mr. Jones, and of course I call him Steve, and we're going to get into this, and you're going to get an opportunity to relax your mind. Why? Because you're getting ready to be hypnotized. Don't go nowhere. Hey, welcome back, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm like shaking. My knees is like shaking, because anytime that we can bring a guest to the show that will help you to be inspired, to educate you, and also bring you entertainment, you know Miss JJ love it. We're back with Mr. Steve, and of course we're talking about, he's actually a hypnotherapist. Did I say that right?
Hypnotherapist, yes.
You said it again.
Hypnotherapist. You said it fine.
See, he said it so well. Hypnotherapist.
I get to say it every day.
You know, and people are so scared of the word therapist. The first thing that when you hear the word therapist is like, okay, you're trying to say I'm crazy. But these days and times, any type of therapist that can help you, motivate you to the things that you need to do is something that is really, really great. So let's get back into this.
Sure. I'm
excited for you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited listening to you being excited for me. I'm pumped up now. I think you're a therapist.
Thank you. But I'm so proud of you, because it's just like you found that. You know what you're doing. You're instilling this into other people, and they're achieving things that would change generations. So let's talk about this hypnotherapist. Did I get that right? Back up. What's the word?
Hypnotherapist. You're saying hypnotherapist?
Am I saying hypnotherapist?
You're adding mo there. That's fine. I mean, a lot of people say that, but it is hypnotherapist.
Hypnotherapist.
There you go.
Okay. And then you also get word correction on the Miss JJ show. Hypnotherapist. Of course, I got that right. Now, we got to talk a lot about this, because I am so excited about it. I know that you can talk to someone to motivate them to lose weight, to be energetic about their dreams, to accomplish things that they never thought they would accomplish, even their horoscope. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you can really do with being hypnotized. Yes. But what is the #1 request that people have from you when it comes to just relaxing their mind?
The #1 request these days is for them to make more money. Having been featured on a show that's about money, I've got more of a reputation for helping people achieve their financial goals. But in general, for hypnotherapists, the #1 reason people would come to them is for weight loss.
So how many times do you actually have to be hypnotized within a session?
Well, within a series of sessions, I recommend between 3 and 6 sessions. So each session would be about a week apart. But you can get a lot of power with just one session. Sometimes that's all people need.
So actually, how long will one session, if I'm coming and I'm getting hypnotized, and I want to be rich, how many sessions do I have to come back to actually have that instilled in me?
For wealth, I usually work with someone 3 sessions. 3 sessions. The first session, building confidence that they can do it. The second session, building motivation that they will, now that they have the confidence, they'll go ahead and make it happen. And the third session, I'm talking specifically about what they're going to do, because they've got the confidence, they're pumped up, but it's kind of like going to a seminar. They don't necessarily know what to do, so I make sure that they have programming subconsciously, so they will take certain steps to make that wealth flow.
Now, would this work with all types of life? I mean, you don't necessarily have to be rich, or you don't have to be poor to actually have this done for you. Now, do you have a lot of rich clients, though?
I do have a lot of rich clients, because I do charge a fair amount now for one-on-one sessions. So these days I do have a lot of wealthy clients. But hypnotherapy will work for anyone. In fact, I believe that the less money people have, sometimes the more motivated they are to make a change. Because I remember before I became wealthy, I was highly motivated to make a change because it was almost a desperation for me. So I used that energy. But the trick I found is for people to find out what they're good at, find out what their passion is, and then go with that. Because then it's not forced. Then it's just a matter of unleashing that, unraveling it, unfolding it for the world. And then once the world sees it, for me it was hypnotherapy, but for some people it's being a doctor or a lawyer or entertainer or what have you. And then once everyone sees it, they like it, and they want them to do it more, and they pay them for it, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger.
Now see, that's the great thing about it. That is an awesome thing. But let me ask you this, because this is like what I really, really want to ask you. Now, we've already said that being hypnotized relaxes the mind, but there's a lot of people that don't know the definition of hypnosis. So if we can break that down, then maybe we could take the next step for them to understand that they're not crazy.
Well, hypnosis is just a relaxed state of mind. So you go in and out of hypnosis every day, and we classify hypnosis as anything that's alpha or lower. And these are measurable brain cycles per second. We can measure them. So anything that's the alpha level or lower. So beta is where we are right now, full awakening consciousness. We're wide awake. We're totally conscious. Our consciousness is at the highest level. If we were to start to space out or daydream or read a book or vacuum or drive a car, any of those activities that we can do without thinking too much about them, we would go down into alpha. And then if we were to go a little deeper, we'd go to theta. And if we were to fall asleep, we'd go to delta. So we have beta, full awakening consciousness, alpha, a little relaxed, theta, and then delta. So any time that we are down to alpha or lower, we're in hypnosis, but we don't necessarily realize it. So we can go in and out of it throughout the day.
Do you know how many people around the world never, ever even heard of what you're saying and just never knew it was just that simple?
I agree. A lot of people, when I give a talk about hypnosis, are fascinated to learn that they go into hypnosis every day. They don't realize that when they drive their car, they're in hypnosis, when they just wake up and they're just going to sleep, when they're checking out during a lecture, they're in class and they're not paying attention, they're kind of spacing out. Anytime you space out or daydream, you're in hypnosis. They don't realize that they do it every single day.
And you're tapped into it, and so now you're helping other people to tap into it. That's huge.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's something that's so simple and so straightforward, so basic, but it's so powerful.
That's the word. It's powerful. It's real powerful. And when we get back, we're going to ask him, do you really bark like a dog, or get on the floor and crawl like a snake, or jumping down and holler? All the stuff that you've seen before. We'll get back with Steve and we'll ask him, do you really do that when you hypnotize? Some of you may. We'll be right back. Hey, you guys, I know that you've been waiting, of course, to hear the answer. Can you bark like a dog? Do you get on the floor and crawl like a snake? All that crazy stuff that you thought that that's what it meant to be hypnotized. The answer is getting ready to come. Drum roll, please. Steve?
I charge extra for that. We can have you do that, but it's going to cost extra. Normally in a hypnosis session, you don't do that. Of course, someone can. If they would normally bark like a dog or crawl like a snake, sometimes in stage hypnosis shows where people perform on a stage, people think maybe that's not real, but it is. Some people are that suggestible. So that's the kind of thing that we save for an entertaining stage hypnosis show, like in Vegas, where people are brought up on stage and hypnotized for the purposes of entertainment. But in clinical hypnotherapy, we don't do that. So you don't have to worry about that. That's not a reality. That's something that happens for entertainment only.
See? Aha! That answered your question, of course. So now let's go back. Now you got to get the real stuff. So let's go back into this. Okay. I mean, I think that when you're hypnotized, now, since I've been a little bit educated, I'm not trying to be like I'm smarter than y'all since I already know about Steve Jones. But I know now, since your mind can take different stages throughout the day, I know that it has to be somewhere where the negativity steps in. How do you deal with the negativity when you've been hypnotized?
Well, after you're hypnotized, just like anything else, just like when you go to a seminar and you leave it and you think, well, I'm going to save the day and make a difference, and then people start saying, well, wait a minute, you're not going to make that amount of money or make that change in your life or what have you. So that's the negativity that comes in. The way you deal with that is usually by listening to a recording of the session. You have a recording of the session, you listen to it every night for 21 nights. Also by affirmations. You know, affirmations get put down a lot because I think there was the Saturday Night Live skit where the guy said, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me, and he was saying that in a mirror, and they were kind of making fun of the affirmation process. But affirmations are real. I mean, one of the tricks I use is I take a Sharpie, just one of those black Sharpies, it's permanent, you write on your mirror, and you might think, well, I ruined the mirror, but with a green scrubby pad, you can wipe it off. So I write 3 affirmations, things that I want to work on, and I'll say them to myself every time I see that in the mirror, which is usually in the morning and then in the evening, to just push that point further in my subconscious mind. So there's a little bit of footwork you have to do on your own. You also have to realize that when people say negative things to you, you reframe it in your mind. You say, that's the old me, this is the new me, and now I choose differently.
Right. Sometimes, like, I guess this happens to people, though, but actually when I say on the top shelf and rising, it's so embedded in me to be on the top shelf and rising that when I don't say it, Steve, I feel guilty. I feel like I missed out on not saying it to someone, or I didn't get an opportunity. And some people say they're blessed, or some people say they're rich. Some people, you got your own on actually what you're going to say, but when it's inside of you and it becomes a part of you and you're allowed to say it, when you don't say it, I feel like I'm missing something.
I like that, on the top shelf and rising.
Yes.
That's great. So you're already at the highest point, and you're going to go further than that.
Absolutely.
Like that is a great affirmation. Yeah, we should all have affirmations like that mean something to us, because they're going to empower us to move forward. And it's great that you feel a lack when you don't say it, because it's sort of like a vitamin. If you didn't take your vitamin that day, then you would feel perhaps lower on energy. I know I do. So affirmations should be like that also. They should be empowering, and when you don't say them, you should miss them. And when you do say them, they shouldn't feel like a drudgery. They should feel like something that's going to give you that extra boost in your day.
So look into the cameras and tell our audience, give them at least 3 that they can say to themselves every day.
Sure. And it depends on the individual. Take these and you can change them to modify them to make them what you want. But keep in mind, when you have an affirmation, you state it in the positive and you state it in the present. And I always like to leave out words such as can't and don't, like or won't, such as I won't smoke anymore, or I won't overeat anymore, or I won't feel bad about myself anymore. I state them positively in the present, and I leave out negative wording. So here's an example of 3 of them. I am a very powerful person.
I am a very powerful person.
I am a very positive thinker.
I am a very positive thinker.
I am achieving all of my dreams easily and effortlessly.
I am achieving all of my dreams easily and effortlessly.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I like it.
That's good. That's a great start for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and people say that to themselves, and they sometimes think, oh wait a minute, I'm lying to myself, because whatever situation they're in their lives, it doesn't reflect that. They don't feel positive, they don't feel powerful, they don't feel they're achieving anything. And so initially when people say affirmations, they think, oh, what a waste of time. Why would I say this to myself when it's not true? The thing is, it becomes true by you saying it over and over, and you're stating it in the positive. For example, if you want to have $1 million in the bank, you say, I have $1 million in the bank, and you may think, that sounds ridiculous. Why would I say that when I don't? The reason you say that is because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what it hears. So when you state it in the present, as if it's happening, your subconscious mind looks for a way to make it happen.
Now that's awesome. So actually, anyone can achieve it.
Absolutely. And you don't have to even know how you're going to make it happen, because your subconscious mind starts looking in your environment every day for ways to make that a reality, since you've already told it it's reality.
Steve is showing us how powerful your mind is. And you don't want to go nowhere. You want to stay right here. We'll be right back. And we're going to talk about the clock. Tick-tock. Is that a myth or is it real? We'll be right back.